Welcome everybody to this panel discussion on behalf of Expleo Solutions. I am Balaji Venkatesan. I am a senior director with Expleo Solutions. I run the digital and emerging services business for many of our strategic banking customers. And I'm happy to welcome here Joellen and Mike and Aleksey on part of this panel discussion, rearing to go cashless, right? So it's going to be very interesting. May I request the panelists to please take seat and then maybe your mic as well. First of all, I thank Tradepass for organizing this event and also inviting us for this panel discussion. Thanks a lot, Tradepass. What can be a good combination of a person from the regulatory compliance board, the BSP, and also from a bank of commerce, and also a fintech person, the chief digital officer of product officer of fintech company UnaCash. So we are going to bring you a good perspective of all three angles of the industry practitioners here. And first of all, this panel is going to be basically talking about three different aspects of rearing to go cashless, right? The first one, the faster transaction processing, that everybody wants to go cashless, and then the moment you walk into an ATM or you do a digital transaction, we don't have the patience to wait to complete a transaction, right? We just want everything instantaneous, right? So from that perspective, I would like to pose the question to Mikey. What's your viewpoint, sir, on the faster transaction process? How do you see, are there challenges still because the bandwidth is increasing and everything is getting very well wired and networked? Do you still see the pain of faster transaction processing that customers are complaining about?
Okay, let me answer you this way, sir. We're a bank. BSP's here. Okay, we are highly regulated, as most of my colleagues here in the banking sector is. So whenever we allow our clients to do transactions in different channels, whether it be mobile, internet, or the different digital channels, we always anchor on regulations first. Okay, then are we allowed or not allowed to do this? Or central bank is very specific on that for us banks. Then I go to our clients. Okay, what are their appetite? What are their demographics in terms of the way they do transactions? Okay, of course, the recent pandemic changed a lot of our transactions demographics, including me. Okay, then I go further. I go into the business strategy of the bank. I talk to the group heads, whether it be transaction banking, whether it be retail banking, wholesale banking, treasury, okay? And look into their what kind of transactions, channels, or velocity that you wanted to provide for your set of clients. Then I go a little further, go into my infrastructure. Okay, is my infrastructure ready to provide the kind of transactional processes, whether it be digital or the traditional channels that my group heads or the bank wants? Okay, and I would assess whether I'm ready to be able to provide that kind of services, whether I have my own security, because security is very important for you to consider whether you're moving to these different kinds of channel, and how prepared your infrastructure is. Like, is your core banking capable of doing it? Do you have an API infrastructure in the middle to be able to talk to these legacy systems that most of the banks have? It's like my bank. Like Bank of Commerce is the Bank of San Miguel. San Miguel is 6% of the gross domestic product of the Philippines. So we are preparing the infrastructure for them, not only for the set of clients that we deliver for the San Miguel conglomerate, but also for their clients that are transacting with San Miguel. So that is the get-go or the go-to in terms of what are our pain points. There are, but we also have to look into the advantages of providing this kind of channels to the bank. There's a lot of things that you have to consider, a lot of challenges, but these are things that we have to work on because these are the demands of the clients. Right.
So, faster transaction processing also comes with the challenge of cost of transactions, right?
Right.
So, how do you see reducing the cost of transactions?
Well, we have to look into the banks. Traditional banks have this brick and mortar. We have branches, right? So would the digital channel translate into faster processing? So what about our brick and mortar, the branches? What would they do? Because they are supposed to be sales channel. And some of the banks use that for some operational transactions or efficiency that the bank requires. So what we normally do is we look at the cost involved in this very traditional footprints and look into how the digital footprint will be able to augment or translate into more cost saving, cost avoidance with higher sales if we will be able to move them into this digital platform. Then, as I've said earlier, we also have to look at IT costs because the main drivers or enablers of these digital channels are the IT infrastructure. Okay? That's one aspect of it because there's technology, there's processes, and there's people. So we have to look into the entire spectrum of that realm for us to be able to know whether it will be cost effective for us to move into this channel or not. Okay. So it's an entire analysis of not only cost, but whether it coincides with the business strategy of the bank. Right.
Sure. So, when you talk about the cost of transactions and also the faster transaction processing, obviously, I was talking to you yesterday, and then you were sharing your experience on establishing a micro ATM in the last 4 or 5 years, right? So that goes well with the current trend of the new age digital products disrupting the micro ATM conventional way of withdrawing cash from the ATMs, right?
Right. So just to expand on it a little more, like 4 to 5 years ago, we had this micro ATM platform where you can use your ATM and go to a sari-sari store and be able to transact as if the sari-sari store in the far-flung areas will provide the ATM services for you because we only have like 20,000 ATMs, 22,000 ATMs for the entire Philippines. So look up at the ratio in terms of, so we enabled this sari-sari store to be able to accept ATM cards. We have products that are being run by several banks, right now. But here comes the pandemic, where not everybody is given the agility to go into the ATMs because you're locked down, right? So here comes the fintech people group, where you can send money to them with an ease without the use of ATM card. So you go to a sari-sari store now, you send money to the storekeeper, and the storekeeper will give you the cash equivalent of that wallet or that cash that you sent. So it disrupted a disruption that we did on micro ATM cards because, again, of this digital channel that just spurred up in the transaction growth was tremendous for the past 2 years. So I was telling user earlier that there's a disruption and there's another disruption coming in on the disrupted digital technology. So that's happening.
Well said. Actually, disruption is getting disrupted again by constant innovation. And I must quote Jovelyn's opening comment this morning. She started her presentation with the silent dilemma, right? The movie, social dilemma, social dilemma, right? The movie that talked about the technology disruption, right? So many of these new age digital products actually have disrupted the way that we bank, we conduct our banking transactions. And that's where fintech partners come in a big way to help accelerate of the banking solution like UnaCash and Mikey, do you want to also talk about how Gcash and the other things have actually started disrupting the micro ATM side of it?
Like for example, what I said before, like 5 years ago, you go to a Sari Sars, we introduced this platform called micro ATM, mobile ATMs, where we enable the stores for you to be able to use your ATM card and for them to give you the money as if they're like an ATM. Now, with the advent of GCash, Maya, and all the other fintechs, we can actually send money to anybody that we wanted to in just a few seconds.
Withdrawing or sending cash across different customers, two different transactions happening. One is the send and the other is the receive. I would like to invite Aleksey's viewpoint on UnaCash. They have a lending solution. Aleksey, your view on how this is actually disrupting to help the digitalization accelerate?
Yeah, I think first of all there is big opportunities um, for regulatory to help for the new entities, to new players come into the market. And I hope that the sandbox that was mentioned today at morning will help to interact with BSP regarding new kind of businesses which try to boost digitalization, because what I see right now, it's very hard to become an EMI digital bank. It's impossible. It was said in news. Register a new online lending platform. It's very hard, and I see a lot of investors around the world who want to put billions in Philippines economy, and they just want for the regulations for that, like give us a way, give us a pass, and we come and we put money here and we will try to boost digitalization. But now it's very um, small steps for opening for the new players, and I think that the competition here can really change the market, because old banks will be forced to compete, and they will increase speed of their digitalization. They will fight with their legacy. They will decrease price of transactions, because right now it's just too high to for the people. Like for the 50% of Philippines, if they will spend 30 peso per day for two transactions between e-wallets or banks, they just will spend 10% of their family income per month, and it's very high. It have to be much lower, and I hope that the competition between different players on the market will decrease this transaction fee, or hopefully we get rid of these fees on the people of users of digital finance services. So that's my point of view as a business leader, that we need more opportunities to become digital, to join the digital finance market, and also I see good intentions, good steps regarding digital ID, as was discussed today. Also, it's very important for open API, for open finance framework. What else? Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, I think fintech and product companies, they play a vital role in this overall ecosystem on the digitalization journey. I was talking to a lot of CIOs and CTOs in this forum, and one thing that the common theme that unanimously came out was none of them saw fintech as a competitor. They saw them as collaborators. I am tempted to quote here one of the panelists yesterday. They said in their presentation, fintech companies are not competitors here anymore. They help drive the strategy and accelerate the digitalization solution to a faster time to market. So that's how it is being viewed at. So from that perspective, if you look at it, there are multiple solutions, mechanism, transaction mechanisms like a QR code, the NFC, and many of these digital way of payment mechanisms are being used now, and plenty of products are being built around this as a as a payment mechanism. So from that perspective, when you talk about these multiple mechanisms being available, right? So there are also the corresponding risks that come along with the solution, right? So in terms of their security, in terms of their availability, in terms of their when these things get into the wrong hands, how a fraud is being manipulated, right? So there is a way to also govern this, and that is where Joelin from BSP comes with that perspective. What's your view, Jolene, on the security aspect of it? And I know BSP is a major thing on the governance and policy of the payment side of the fintech transactions. So please share your views on that.
Yeah. So I think it's very important to understand the customer's journey. Prior to the pandemic, a lot of Filipinos are not really enthusiastic in terms of using digital payments, right? But again, the pandemic came and most of us were forced to adopt digital payments. But the other side of the coin there is, of course, the increasing level of cybersecurity risks. So for the BSP, it was important for us to also raise the awareness of customers, the general public, in terms of their cybersecurity hygiene and their digital literacy. So, which is why we also recently issued circular number 1140. So, that one deals with the fraud management requirements in terms of having robust and it being driven by customer behaviors. And then there's also another requirement there wherein BSP supervised institutions are actually required to embed in their customer awareness program digital financial literacy. So before onboarding a customer for, let's say, an online banking account, there should be an equivalent onboarding program that would allow that customer to have the basic knowledge of how to use an online banking platform. What are the minimum security considerations that that customer should take into consideration, right? So the BSP is very cybersecurity is top priority for the BSP. So we've been issuing a lot of cybersecurity regulations way back. I think it was also mentioned yesterday by Director Mel, way back 2017, 2018, and we constantly issue cybersecurity memorandums and policy issuances.